welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be demonstrating a step-by-step guide to applying makeup for beginners. And when I say step-by-step, I mean it. Getting into the micro details here, not just on how to apply makeup, but why you would do certain steps, why you would do them in certain orders, and how you can make the most of your kit with the things you already have at home. Makeup is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. You have to do makeup that makes sense for your face, your features. So I'll be explaining why I do what works for my features and how you can figure out how to adjust it for your face. Snowflakes, okay? We are all different. There are no two faces alike. That's why there should be no universal way to apply makeup. Okay, let's jump in. I don't care who you are, where you're from, don't care what you think, as long as you moisturize. Seriously though, moisturizing is key, whether you're young, old, crusty, dusty, oily, combination. Everybody should be moisturizing their skin. It is so important to keep our skin supple. Basically, moisturizer is how I prime my face for makeup. It's like applying a layer of primer before you apply paint. Makeup needs something to stick to. So especially if you're going to be wearing makeup, I definitely recommend to always moisturize your skin first. And my favorite moisturizer of all time is Embryolisse. It's a French brand. It's like $12 and a little bit goes a long way and it smells amazing. So I just take a little bit right here. And then I learned this trick from Queer Eye. Jonathan said to save product, rather than rubbing it into your hands and then rubbing it into your skin, tap it all over your face in little dots like this so that you don't rub the product into your hands and waste it. All the product you're going to be using is going to rub into your skin.
Don't care what you did, as long as you
wear SPF. Everybody should be wearing SPF. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter the type of skin you have. Everybody needs SPF because the sun is the #1 killer of youth. So you want to protect your face from the sun as much as possible. So that means wearing sunscreen every single day, even if you don't think you're going to leave the house. Like, just put on sunscreen, because if your window's open, sun is coming in and it's hitting your face. So just make it part of your morning routine. Right now I'm using Supergoop. This is the unseen sunscreen. The label came off, but that's okay. This is an SPF 40. I recommend just getting a high as SPF as you can. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm loyal to this product, but this is what I'm using right now. I typically try and go for a physical sunscreen as opposed to a chemical sunscreen. If you don't know the difference, just Google it. I don't really remember the difference. I just remember that physical is supposed to be better at protecting against the sun. So I just research different sunscreen brands and try what I think is gonna be good. But there's definitely ones you could get at the drugstore. You don't need to like invest in a crazy SPF. Just make sure you get something on that face every day before you apply makeup, because a little bit of SPF that comes in the makeup ain't enough. I'm gonna start with my soap brows. This is a product that is made specifically for this, but you can use any kind of soap you want as long as it has a clear residue as opposed to a white residue. What you're gonna do with it, and you can get that at the drugstore, at the dollar store, anywhere. But what you wanna do is you wanna either spray the soap itself with some water. This is a rose water from Wet n Wild. Or you can get your spoolie wet. Either way, you just need some moisture. Get the product on your spoolie. The spoolie that's already on this brow pencil. I do the soap first when there's no other makeup on my face because it's soap, so it will kind of take off your makeup if you get the soap everywhere. But first things first, I just comb my eyebrows up in the center and kind of just like up and away towards the end. Mainly just up in the center and then kind of diagonal out here. I like them going up in the center, but on the ends right here, this is a little too crazy for me. I'm just gonna gently take the top part and comb it down so they're a little bit groomed. Just the top. You don't want to comb it all the way down because you still want that diagonal. and that gives you that kind of laminated effect. The two tools I like to use for foundation is either a fluffy brush like this. This is from Real Techniques. It's number 204, and this is amazing for buffing foundation into the skin. I'm a big fan of this brush. Got it at CVS. Also, a major key is a beauty blender. This is really good for blending makeup, pressing it into the skin. There's so many uses for this, and if you have one product that you invest in that's not from a drugstore, I recommend it being a beauty blender because it is worth it. There is no sponge that compares, period. I'm going to talk about my favorite foundation ever. L'Oreal Pro Glow. This is, time and time again, I come back to this foundation because it's super dewy, it's super blendable. I was first put onto this foundation because I learned that Beyonce's makeup artist, Sir John, uses it on her sometimes. So if it's good enough for Beyonce, it's good enough for you and me. Skin shines. So I believe foundation should shine a little bit too. I don't ever want to look like I'm wearing a mask. I just want to look like I have perfect skin, and I feel like this does a really great job of providing that. If I get a compliment on my foundation, 9 times out of 10, I'm using this. And I just think it's amazing. So a good way to apply this is to deposit a little bit on the back of your hand. And I'm gonna start with my brush. And this is a great way to kind of warm up product before applying it on your face, and also control how much product you're putting on at once. When you just like throw it on the brush and throw it on, it might be too much, and then you have to like worry about blending out that patch. This allows you to start with a thin layer, and you can adjust accordingly. So as you can see, I have like spots on my face. I have dark marks, acne scars, and you can spot correct them, but I find that this foundation is full coverage enough that if I just give a little bit more love to those areas, I'm satisfied. And what I'm doing with this brush, how I'm applying it, this is called stippling. So I'm pouncing it into my skin and pouncing it off. So that allows the product to become one with the skin, as opposed to streaking it like that. You don't really want to pull on your face in general, especially when you're applying foundation. You want it to become one with your skin as much as possible. So you could either do that with a brush or with a damp sponge. And then make sure you're taking it down your neck. A good way to find out which foundation is the right color for you is to compare it to your collarbone. Naturally, our faces are lighter than the rest of our skin, as they should be if you've been wearing your SPF. So it's important, so we don't look like a floating head, to not match foundation to our face, to match it to this area. And then even so, bring it down the neck, because no foundation is going to be an exact perfect mix, an exact perfect color for your skin. So it's important to apply a little bit to all the skin that's showing. So don't forget your ears. And I'm breaking this down to really explain to you, but once you have these steps, you can do this in literally 5 minutes. A damp beauty blender also works great for applying this foundation. So I'm just kind of taking the remainder I have on my hand and pressing that into the skin. Be careful around your eyebrows. You don't want to mess up that shape that we just got. And when I'm applying foundation, I kind of omit the area under my eyes because I'm going to apply concealer there to brighten things up, and you just don't want to have too much product underneath your eyes. That's the first area to crease. That's the first area to look cakey and questionable. So if we can limit that, the amount of product in that area, we want to do that as much as possible. Okay, so this next step, I debated if I wanted to include in a beginner tutorial, because when I first started doing makeup, I didn't do this. But I just wanted to cover all my bases. So if you are interested in applying this makeup this way, you can try it. If not, you can skip this step and you can do it later. The step I'm referring to is contour. So you can do cream contour or powder contour. Powder contour tends to be a little bit easier, but if you want to see cream contour, I just figured I might as well include it in this video. So today I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Stick Foundation. So this is a foundation. Contour is not a product. Contour is a technique. It's a technique in which you're using a color that is darker than your natural skin tone to bring back the natural dimension you have in your face and make it look more sculpted. We just painted our face with foundation. Now it's time to bring back some of that dimension in our cheekbones, the natural shadows in our face, so we can look even more sculpted and more defined. And a good way to understand where you should be contouring on your face, because it is personal, it is unique. How I contour my face, the areas in which I choose to contour are not going to be the same for you because your face has a completely different set of features. So you want to tailor your makeup application to your face. So with contour, all we're doing is making things look smaller. So in order to do that, you want to create a shadow, and you can use any product you want that is darker than your foundation. Okay, so if I'm looking at myself, I can see the shadows that naturally occur right here in my cheekbones. That's an area I want to contour. I also personally would like to make my forehead look a little bit smaller. So I see that the light bounces off the center. That's a natural highlight. So the area surrounding that, that's a natural contour. My nose, naturally there are shadows, and my nose is a little crooked, so I try and correct it with contour to kind of make it look a little straighter. And also under here, obviously there's a clear shadow right here from your chin, and to make your chin look even more, you can add contour. So all you're doing is enhancing the natural shadows on your face. So I encourage you to take a light to your face, see where your natural shadows occur, and then apply your contour there. So that's the who, what, where, when, why of contour. Now I'm going to show you how to apply it. So take the stick, or if you're using a regular liquid foundation, that would be fine too. I highly recommend depositing it on the back of your hand. And as you can see, I still have some foundation on my hand, which is great because that's going to help the contour blend even more. So here I'm warming this product up so it can become more skin-like and not pull away at the foundation I just applied, and just really work with me. So once I've taken some on my hand, I'm going to take my Real Techniques brush. This is R206, and these came in a little baby set from CVS, so I definitely recommend that because I get a lot of use out of these brushes. And I just pick some up on this brush, and I kind of pat it in to those natural shadows. Again, cream contour is not for everyone. If you're a beginner and you want to skip this step, by all means. Also, I recommend taking it into your hairline. Now I'm gonna snatch the jaw. And you could take this contour stick straight to your face. It's just gonna take more time to blend, so why not save yourself some time by already applying it kind of blendy. Just right there in that natural shadow. You wanna make sure your contour starts like above the ear, because when you bring the contour down, too far down, it'll have a reverse effect. So you want your face, these hairs, you want your face to look lifted. And also one thing I strive for in makeup is kind of like this parallelity. I want my jaw to come up. I want my cheekbone to come up. When I do my eye makeup, I'm gonna kind of want that to go up. So it kind of has that like facelift effect. And you don't need a lot. You want to use the least amount of product on your nose. So I like to do the tip of my nose because I want it to look a little shorter. And then to get the sides of my nose, take a little more product here. I just use that same brush and kind of flatten it, going on that natural shadow. Unfortunately, I can't completely correct my crooked nose with makeup, but I can at least take the nose I already have and make it look a little slimmer. And you could take this all the way into your brow bone, because if you can see, there's a natural shadow there too. And I kind of just dust off the rest on my lid, almost like a eyeshadow. Now, if you're gonna be applying cream contour, there's a reason why I do that first before concealer. And the reason being is anything that maybe was a little messy, didn't really go in the place you wanted, you'll now have the chance to correct and adjust with your concealer. So concealer, or in this situation, this step of the makeup routine is called highlighting. This is bringing out the natural highlights in your face. So I see the light right here, I see the light right here, I see the light right here, and I see the light right here. Those are the places in my face that are naturally highlighted. So that's where I'm gonna position my highlight. And I'm gonna be using the Infallible Full Wear Concealer by L'Oreal. I'm always switching out concealers. I try lots of different things. The main important part about concealer is you want something brighter than your foundation because you're trying to brighten certain areas of your face, and just an undertone that complements your skin tone. Sometimes, you know, if you have purple under eyes, something with a peachy undertone will kind of correct those tones. But in terms of depth, just choose a concealer that's a few shades lighter than your foundation. So I recommend, if you're a beginner, not applying a lot of concealer, because a little bit goes a long way, and especially when we're dealing with our under eyes, we don't want them to get too caked up. So for starters, I like to do dot, 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 and like I said, I want to highlight this area, dot. I just do this dot method because it allows me to not use very much. And now this is a great opportunity to use your beauty blender, and you just start moving that where you want it. So for my nose contour, to kind of clean this up, I'm gonna take this down the side of my nose. The further in I take my concealer, the skinnier the nose is gonna look. So as you can see, it's like goes out more here, and this is like taking it in. And then a good marker for where your concealer should stop is right above your cheek. And if you want to have that snatch moment, I like to pull it up past the eye just a little bit. I'm making that natural highlight on your forehead. I see mine kind of goes up. I call this little area the tree of life because this is like the stem and this is the branches. And your tree will look different than my tree. We all have a different tree, if we have a tree at all. If your forehead is really small, you might not want to even do this step. You might want to leave your forehead all one color so that it looks bigger. You don't want to add that dimension and make it appear smaller. I personally like to shrink my forehead a little bit because naturally, if I ever would see the sun, the sun would hit me right here on this part of my forehead and naturally look darker. And that's always what we want to do, is mimic the natural nuances that would occur on our skin, on our face, for our features. So I try and keep the concealer where I want it so I can like shape it. And then once I feel like I have a pretty good structure, then I start blending out those edges so it doesn't look too much like makeup. And right now I'm pretty like content with this blend, but maybe if this was your first time using cream contour, if you kind of blended it too far down, one easy way to clean that up is take your foundation, just a little bit, take it on the pointy part of your beauty blender, make this awkward little smile, and trace from the top of your ear to the corner of your mouth. And that's automatically gonna lift your face. And we definitely don't want any harsh lines, so just kind of blend that out a little bit. I'm going to be using this powder from Milani. This is in the shade Natural Light. You want to take something that is close to your skin color. Loose powders are also great. Right now I'm just going to be using this one. You want to take a really fluffy brush and just lightly set the outside. Just like I applied my foundation, I'm avoiding my under eyes because I want to put a I want to put a lighter shade there to kind of make that area pop. For under my eyes, I'm taking the Maybelline Superstay. This is a really light color. This is Fair Porcelain, which is obviously not my skin tone. It's just something light to kind of set that highlight under my eyes so I don't undo all the work I did to kind of brighten those. And you want to get a little bit like this, tap it off. This is another Real Techniques brush that I'm obsessed with. I'll link everything down below. Set those under eyes. Keeping that brightness. Down the nose. On the chin. That way we still have that highlight and that contour. Now, powder contour. If you didn't do the cream contour, that's totally fine. You could have just done foundation, highlight with concealer, and set, and then move on to powder contour. If you decided to do the cream contour, it doesn't mean you can't do the powder contour. Layering is totally fine and good. So I'm gonna be using this brush. I love this brush, it's from Morphe. It is the, I believe, M435, sorry, it's kind of rubbed off, but any kind of angled brush like this that's not too dense and has like kind of a dry hair like this as opposed to like a synthetic hair is what I would recommend. I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette. You don't have to have this. You can use any type of powder. It could be a pressed powder like this that's just a couple shades darker than your overall foundation shade, because that's all we're doing with contouring. Again, contour is not a product. Contour is a technique. You can do it with pressed powders, you can do it with contour powder, but all contour powder is face powder that gives you a variety of colors. So I'm going to dip in. I like to mix all of these. As you can see, this palette is busted. I really like the shades in this because they're kind of a cool undertone. And just dust them off and just kind of, I like to do circular motions because I don't want there to be a line. I don't want it, doing like this is a little aggressive. You want it to look like diffused and natural. So I recommend circles, but strategic circles in those hollows of your cheeks that you want to emphasize. You can do this if you want. I try not to take my contour too far in. I recommend going to the arch of your eyebrow. And under the jaw. Just take a little bit, flatten the brush. Shoom, shoom, shoom. Okay, at this point, I like to spray my face with some sort of moisture. I just applied this powder, so I want to bring back some hydration. And I'm using the Wet n Wild Photofocus Rose 3-in-1 primer. This is prep, set, refresh, so you could use it before, you could use it to set your makeup, you could use it 10 hours later just to refresh your face. I love setting sprays, and I especially love things that smell like rose, so this is a gem for me. And the reason why I like to apply some spray at this point is because when I apply my blush, I want it to pop. And I feel like when your skin's a little damp, the blush like bounces off and looks super cute. So I'm gonna be using the Luminoso blush. This is my favorite blush. It's by Milani. I use this basically every single day, and I just think it's my favorite drugstore blush ever. I just take that same contour brush, smile, and apply it on my cheeks. And you can also, there's two ways you can do blush. Well, you can do whatever you want. Who am I to tell you like there's only two ways? You can do blush however you want. But if you want a more sculpted look, you can apply your blush in the same direction you kind of apply your contour, and that's gonna help lift your face even more. If you want just like a cute, like young looking blush, and you don't really like blush that much and you don't want it like all over your face, you could just place it on the apples of your cheeks. And then if you want that like youthful flushed look, you can take it across, kind of like almost like in a W, like you got this sun-kissed look from being out in the sun. Whatever floats your boat. I'm a fan of blush, so I kind of like to do all of the above, and then I'll take the excess and put it on my eyes. Moving on to the eyes, make sure there's no creases from your foundation or your concealer. You can just kind of blend them out with your finger, and then take your beauty blender and lightly just kind of flatten out that skin. If you want to take your contour brush and kind of set right here, or you could use your powder brush or this smaller powder brush you use, just a little bit to kind of set those eyes. Now, for a simple look, I would recommend just using your contour to do your eyes. Taking a nice fluffy brush like this. This is the Morphe R39. Dipping into a lighter shade, or you can mix them together, whatever you want. And just kind of finding your crease and sort of blending some product. Again, this can be unique to your eye shape. Your crease is not going to be where my crease is. And this is totally optional either way. You don't even have to do this step if you don't want to. You don't have to wear eyeshadow on your eyes. This is just going to kind of help connect your face and connect your contour into your eyes, and just everything looks super seamless. And again, following those natural shadows. There's a natural shadow right here from my brow bone, and I'm gonna just follow that. I'm gonna take it into my nose contour. If you want, you could take some of the darker colors and focus those just on the end, like a little outer V like this. And you don't even need to use more than one color here because of your technique. So if I use all the same color and I'm applying different techniques, it's still gonna look dimensional. So by applying a little bit in the crease, that creates a shadow. And if you want more depth, you can pack it in a little outer V right here. And even though it's the same color, it's gonna look dimensional because of the different way you went in applying it. And to complete the eye, I like to do the underneath of my eye. And how I know where to place this, I make this face, and this skin right here naturally puffs up. And that's where it goes. Some people, I feel like, tend to be scared of applying makeup down here because they don't want to look like raccoon-like. You have all this under eye that you just highlighted, and you have plenty of under eye to go. The part that naturally kind of puffs up right here, if your face has that feature, is a good marker for how far you should take it down. And I like to take it to that corner and connect right here. You can stop there if you want, but if you're feeling froggy and you want to take that leap, you can do a little eyeliner. I recommend, if you're a beginner, starting with like a brown eyeliner. It's not as harsh as black eyeliner. This is the shade Trendsetter by Morphe. And I'm just gonna draw a little bit on the outer corner. As you can see, this is not a line, it's more like a little mark. That's okay. Take your brush, gently blend it out. In a diagonal type of motion like this. And it's not so much of an eyeliner as it is just adding a little dimension right there. Adding a little lift. And you could take that beauty blender. Boop, boop. So now your eyes have just like a gentle little lift. So if you did none of that, totally fine. You could go straight from doing your face makeup to doing your lashes. So I'm just going to curl my lashes. Curling makes such a difference. And I love this mascara from L'Oreal, Carbon Black. I definitely try and opt for a waterproof mascara. One, because my eyes water, and two, because it holds the curl better. And you kind of just want to get in the root and sort of wiggle it on out. You don't want it to be too clumpy. Try not to apply too much. You just want enough to coat the lashes and help define them. And if you get some on your skin, just let it dry, and then you can take a Q-tip and it'll flick right off. Just make sure you don't try and take it off until it's got dry and kind of flaky. Now, I have a number of drugstore products that I love. I love this pencil by NYX. It's in the shade Natural. This is another NYX in the shade Los Angeles. My Revlon 645 and my NYX, 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 I don't know, Soft Matte Cream in Abu Dhabi. Whatever floats your boat. Different nudes will look different with different skin tones. So that's why I wanted to introduce kind of like a variety that I think cover a good amount and go from there. So I'm gonna start with Los Angeles, and I'm just gonna line my lips. If you are into overdrawing and want your lips to look bigger, it's okay to go a little bit under your lip line right here. There's a natural shadow, so looking straight on, you don't see it as being overdrawn. And again, when I'm overdrawing top lips, I usually just do a little bit in the center and then go follow the natural lip line. I don't really feel like I need to overdraw my top lip, so I'm just gonna follow the actual lip line. And then you can kind of pop your lips together. Take your finger, kind of smooth it out. And if you need to clean anything up, just take your beauty blender. Boop, boop. So one thing I like to do is to just kind of line my lips and do a slight blend, and then apply chapstick or clear lip gloss and just do the lip liner. If you want to add another color for a little more dimension, just choose something lighter than your lip liner. Boom. So I didn't fill in my brows. I don't always fill in my brows because mine are kind of hairy. But if you do need to fill in your brows, or you feel like with the soap it's not enough, just to know where you should position your product to frame your face, a good indicator is called the golden ratio, which basically just means starting the indent of your brow, find this little indent in your nose, hold the brush straight up, straight line, that's where your brow should start. So you could just take a little pencil. This is the pencil from LA Girl. And from that same indent, go diagonal. That's where your arch should be. Kind of make a little mark there if you need to. And then from the inside out, that's where it should end. If you do that, you're gonna have brows that frame your face perfectly. So once you have your markers of where your brow should go, just try and create a straight line. I think it's better to start with the bottom and just fill in any sparse areas. Very light hand here. And then just comb through to kind of blend it out. And I feel like adding a little gloss. Just because I was feeling like having a glossy moment. So this is the final look. Simple, everyday makeup. You can skip some of these steps, use whatever is helpful for you. I just really wanted to break down the step-by-step process of not only like watching me do makeup, but explaining why we do each thing and how you can customize it for your face. So I hope you found this video super helpful. If you love this video, it would mean the world for me if you could subscribe, like, comment, all of the above. I hope you have a wonderful day. Love you so much. Thanks for watching.